Hi everyone. This is Saleh Rantisi. I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about Palestine. It's my honor. So thank you very much to having me today. In fact, today we want to know more about Palestine. Unfortunately, we don't have long time to talk about everything. So I will just have quick ideas. And at the same time, I wanted to talk about some memories of my story in Gaza Strip. I'm Saleh Rantis. I'm 27 years old. I born in Gaza Strip as a refugee. Then I raised in Sheikh Rudwan, which is in north part of Gaza. Yeah, I studied business administration and I came here, Korea, December 2022 as a Korean language student. Yeah, and in fact here maybe we can talk about why I decided to leave Gaza Strip and then why I choose to come to Korea. In fact, I left Gaza Strip in 2022, which is after 1 year after the war in 2021. Because there is in Gaza Strip we are living under siege and there is wars continuously. We have wars, so the economic situation in Gaza it's very difficult, and the living condition in Gaza it's very difficult for like a young man to grow. And to start my life. Then I decided to leave Gaza Strip. Yeah. Then there is different options. And I decided to come to Korea because I don't know a lot about Korean culture or about Korea. I don't know anything. I know about other countries, other Western countries, and there is some options to go to Western countries, especially Germany. But I decided to come to Korea because I wanted to know more about this new culture, a new world for me. Yeah. And when I introduced myself, I said I'm a Palestinian refugee. Some people they thought that I'm a refugee here in Korea, which is not accurate. I'm asking for refugee status in Korea, but I born as a refugee in Gaza Strip. So from the first day in my life, I identified as a refugee. Yeah, and this is because originally my family, my grandfather, we are not from Gaza. We are from a small city or small village called Yibna. Yeah, so this is some picture from Yibna. And Yibna, it's a small village which is now near to Tel Aviv. Yeah, and in the Nakba year in 1948, my grandfather and my family, they displaced forcibly from Yibna to Gaza Strip. Yeah, so that we are living in Gaza Strip as a refugee, and we identified from UN from UNRWA as a refugee, as a Palestinian refugee. As I mentioned that I lived in Gaza Strip, and Gaza Strip from the first day in my life, that's Gaza Strip. It's under wars and occupation. So I have a lot of memories, which is very difficult memories, and it's not just about myself. All of people living in Palestine or in Gaza Strip, they have the same memories, the same actions, or more, or sometimes more than or worse than what I lived. Yeah, one of these memories. I remember that when I was in kindergarten in 2021, and I remember that there is an attack in a place next to the kindergarten. Supervisor, she asked us to come back to our homes, so she called the bus to pick up us and to send and to let us come back to our homes because there is very dangerous situation. Yeah. Then I remember that while we are coming back from the kindergarten to our school, I saw the place of these attacks, and it was a small car, and this car was burned partially, and there is some blood and water on the street, and it was next to my home. It's not too far from my home. Yeah, and after that, during my life, every time I use this road and I went to this place, I remember the picture of blood and this burned car. Yeah. This is one of the memories of the wars or attacks in Gaza Strip. Yeah, and I mean also I remember that in I think maybe 1 year after that, I mean around this time, that my father, he bought a chicks to me, and I have these chicks, and I give them food and water, and then suddenly we heard an attack. It's next to my home. It's not that much far. So my mother asked all of my brothers to come to go down for downstairs, because it's it's safer than our home. Yeah, and I mean I remember that I was very afraid, and I mean thinking about my chicks, which is I left them in my room, and these things was very difficult for just a child. He's just 5 years old. Yeah, and I mean in each attacks, all of my family, we have to escape from downstairs, or we can stay in our home, but we just live in just one room, to be together in one room, which is much more safe to us, or the idea that if something happened, it will be for all of us, not just, I mean, some of my friends, they get hurt or other not. So we live together in one room, we sleep together in one room during the wars. As you know, that in Gaza Strip, the current genocide is not the first war. The first war in Gaza was in 2008. Then we have the second war 2012 and 2014 and 2022, and now we are in the just recently we have the genocide. So all of these attacks, all of these wars, between these wars there is a lot of attacks and a lot of violence against Gazan people. And I mean each war, it has a very difficult memories, but I mean I remember that in 2008, one of the memories of 2008 war, that my neighbors get attacked, and one of my neighbors killed by this attack. So because the ambulance will take time to come and to help this guy, so my neighbors, he just front of my door, he used his own car, to serve and to help those people get injured from these attacks. Then I remember that when he came back from the hospital, all of his car was full with blood. Yeah, and I remember how he exerted a lot of efforts to clean this car, and maybe he cleaned it physically. He removed the blood and he changed some chairs, but he cannot clean the image of this attacks. He cannot clean the memories of how he picked those people in his own car. Yeah, this is one video I recorded from my room in 2021, just 1 year before I left Gaza. So I recorded this video from my room. Yeah, this is just one video from what I recorded, but what we lived, it's very it's more than this. What we lived in Gaza, it's now what Gazan people live. It's a genocide. It's not wars. Yeah, because wars, it could be a conflict between two countries. They have power, they have army, then they have war. But what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. It's just one country, they have an army, and they just attack and kill innocent people. They don't have power. They just have a very simple tool to defend themselves. Yeah, And I mean, wars is not just the only thing the Gazan people suffering last 20 years. 16 years before the current genocide, we are living in a stage which is a block around Gaza Strip. So this block starts since 2006, and until now we are living under this very difficult stage in Gaza. Yeah, I mean, when I mention stage, I mean that all of the borders are closed. We don't have seaport or airport to travel, so we are in the big prison. And also, we have shortage in all of human needs in Gaza. We don't have electricity, we don't have food, we don't have water, we don't have medicine. All of this, I mean, there's people they die because we don't have these things. Yeah. So I mean, like for electricity, in Gaza Strip, most likely we have just 4 or 5 hours electricity every day, and then we have to adapt our life without electricity. We have to live in darkness during the night. We don't have electricity during the day. We just have a schedule which is 5 hours, sometimes 6 hours. We have electricity. I remember that when I was a child, we spent our most of our time in darkness. We just have small light, which is the car light, and we connect it with a battery. Then we have very small, weak light for the night time. Yeah, so I mean, this video it's from my brothers, and this is at night, so we don't have electricity. We just try to have very weak light to see.
يلا يلا شغل يا أسامة.
بعدين.
لا
صراحة كتير غلبة، لا مش تحمل وانت مكانك.
يلا يا عبود.
يلا يا أسامة.
مش ضوء برضه.
لا
هيك امشي من عندي هيك قرب هيك ضوء احمر يابا احمر. هيك بس حموده.
You see that this video, or most of our time, it's like this, that we live in this darkness. We just have a very weak light, and all of Gazan people for long years they have the same situation. Yeah, and I mean, those people they don't have money to buy a battery. They will just use candles for lighting. And I mean, okay, when we also talk about sage, it means that we don't have gas for cooking. We don't have gasoline for cars or diesel. All of this we have shortage, and for a long time we have shortage in all of these basic needs. Yeah, so I mean, you see that for a long time we use this kerosene stuffing for a long time this is for cooking. We use it for cooking. So I mean, after these wars and siege, and we don't have our freedom. We don't have the freedom to move. We don't have freedom. To as all people around the world to travel or to visit some places. So the people in Gaza Strip, they decided to create something called the Great Term March, which is a peaceful protest. So this peaceful protest, peaceful march, it comes after we living in more than 15 years in siege, 15 years without electricity, 15 years, hundreds of people they die because they cannot, or they don't have we don't have medicine, we don't have treatment for those people. Yeah, so this Great Term March, it was very important milestone in our struggle for many reasons. First, because it was all of people, all of segments, they shared and they participate in this protest, in this struggle. So you will see that women, men, children, elder people, all of people, all of kind of people, all of segments of people, of people, they participate in this protest. The idea of this protest is that it's 100,000 of people, they protest beside the border, just 500 or 700 meters away from the border with Israel, which is Palestinian land. And what they just ask, it's just ask the right to implement the international law, the right to come back to our home. We protest beside the border to ask that we wanted to implement the international law, which is 194. There is international law 194. That's mean, or this order, it's the UN order. It's mean that the Palestinian refugee, they have the right to come back to them lands as soon as possible if they want. So we just protest to implement this law. Yeah, because I mean, almost maybe 70% of people in Gaza Strip, they are refugee. They are not from Gaza. At least 70%, they living in, or they were living in Palestine, and when the occupation came, they forcibly displaced them from them hometowns to Gaza Strip. So that's why all of these people, they protest to ask to come back, or we have the right, we wanna to come back to our land, and we will not forget our right in our land. Yeah, and this peaceful protest was continue for more than 1 year, and just the people, they are, I mean, going to this protest and just participate them live. Like there is some people, they just dancing because or dancing our traditional dabka, cooking our traditional food. It's to strengthen the link between the refugees in Gaza and them rights and them land, which is Palestine. So you can see that I mean, here in this picture, that there is a mother and she teach her daughter in the protest. So the issue is to ensure our existence, that we are here beside the borders. We wanted to send a message. We will not forget our rights, and we will still and continue fighting and struggling against against occupation. Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, Israel, they face this peaceful protest with aggressive power, and they kill hundreds of people, and they injured also thousands of people by snipers. Even though Palestinians, they just protest and they didn't, I mean, make any threat to Israeli soldier. Yeah. So in this peaceful protest, there is more than 250 people killed in this protest, and more than 19,000 people get injured. Yeah. So I mean, it was very important milestone, because it's a form of resistance. It's a form of resistance against occupation. Yeah. So it was very important milestone, but I wanted, to mention that the guy who create or start this idea, which is the peaceful protest, his home was attacked in the current genocide, and his son was killed, his daughter get injured, and he get injured. So the Palestinian activist who started this idea, which is peaceful protest, his son killed in the current genocide. So the current genocide, I mean, I sure that, you know about what's happening down in Gaza. I don't know, if it's clear how much Israel destroy and kill people in Gaza Strip, but now there is a ceasefire, so step by step everything will be much more clear. People, they can go and document the genocide in Gaza. Yeah, in fact, for me, this is the first genocide, the first war. I'm away from Gaza. I'm away from my friends, my family, which is, I mean, it was very difficult to me. Yeah. So okay, I have some videos just to know. Maybe I mean, it's not clear how this genocide it's difficult. So I just wanted to show some videos about that.
من المنطقة برا لكنها بقيت تترصد المدنيين جوا. حصلت الجزيرة على هذه الصور من طائرة مسيرة إسرائيلية من أسطول يحوم فوق غزة منذ ما قبل 7 أكتوبر. ويبدو واضحا من الصور أن هؤلاء الفلسطينيين لا يحملون السلاح ولا يشكلون خطرا على أي شيء أو أي أحد. صاروخ يستهدف الشبان فيستشهد منهم 2. لا يمكن عرض الصور كاملة بعد سقوط الصاروخ الأول نظرا لفظاعتها. يستشهد منهم 2 ويظهر في الصور أحد الشبان مبتعدا عن مكان سقوط الصاروخ. وبالعودة للموقع يبدو في الصور أن أحد الشبان يتحرك. كل هذا والمسيرة لم تترك المكان. وكل هذا والمسيرة ومن يشغلها ومن يتلقى الصور التي تلتقطها في مركز قيادة القوة الجوية للاحتلال يستطيع أن يرى بوضوح أن الشبان لا يحملون السلاح وتبقى المسيرة في المكان. تعود لهم، لا تخطئ قوات الاحتلال أهدافها، وهدفها في هذه الحرب المدنيون. تعود وتطلق النار من جديد. إنها
Okay, it's just a sample about the genocide in Gaza, because this video is taken from Israeli drone, and then this drone was full in Gaza Strip, and people they get this video. But just imagine that in Gaza Strip now there is 10,000 people still under the rubbles. I mean, those people, no one could help them or find them bodies. 10,000 people. I mean, in 460 days in Gaza, Israel killed more than 17,000 children. Imagine that, I mean, there is more than 600 children who was born and killed during the genocide. Yeah, I mean, if in this genocide, now the numbers, it's not clear enough. It's still that people, they discover and they know what's happening. But the estimation that Israel killed more than 65,000 people in Gaza. Yeah, I mean, to imagine why I said it's not war, it's a genocide. Israel destroyed, and this is the international reports. Israel destroyed more than 90% of the buildings in Gaza Strip. Israel destroyed more than 95% of mosques in Gaza Strip. And also Israel attacked all of the churches in Gaza Strip. Yeah, and many of people those killed in the church. In the first month of the genocide, Israel attacked a hospital which belonged to a Christian church in Gaza and killed 500 people in this attack. This video is taken from the hospital. So who recorded this video, he is inside the hospital. So this is how Israel killed more than 65,000 people, and this is just, I mean, the initial estimation. This is how Israel killed my grandfather, my uncle wives, my cousin, and many of my relatives, and many of my close friends. And I just bring those videos that I could show, because I mean there is a lot of videos that maybe it's difficult for people to see. So so this is just, it's not the worst videos, it's not the difficult videos. This is maybe the better, or I mean the better videos for people to see. But if someone who can see difficult videos, he will find something that it's not in the most worst dreams or films. So this is some videos from the north part of Gaza, and show you that how Israel destroyed all of the city.
حجم الدمار هنا مرعب.
This video is just, 2 days ago. Imagine that under these rubbles there is thousands of people, hundreds of families still under the rubbles. You can see that, this is in Jabalia, in north part of Gaza.
شرف العروبة أنتم الله الله والله شرف قدراكم الله يا أهل.
When I mentioned that we have 65,000 people killed, many of people, they just take this as a number. So they don't focus that each person, he has his own story. Each person, he has family. Each person, he has friends. So it's not just numbers. When I mentioned that there is more than 17,000 children killed, that means there is 17,000 families, they lost them children. And I mean, because just we have a limited time, so I cannot mention all of stories or all of what happened in this genocide. But I just wanted to mention just one story of my friends, which is I lost, a lot of my friends, most of my friends I lost in this war, and this is just one story of them. Yeah, this is my friend. This is my friend Amjad. He has 3 little girls. For the first 2 months of this genocide, I cannot reach him. I cannot get any information, any contact with him. And then after 2 months, I successfully get a message from him, and I called him. And I remember that it was very sensitive and difficult times when I realized that he's still alive. Yeah, during that genocide, Amjad, he has very high very high spirit. He has very strong tension. So when I called him, he was very patient. He was very strong. This is, during the genocide. Yeah, and unfortunately, his home was attacked, and his father was killed. Yeah, this is his father. Yeah, and after just a few days, his daughter was killed too. So I called him after his daughter was killed, and he was very strong. He was patient, and he accepted this nicely. Yeah, and I asked him to send me a photo for him when he has a positive situation. So he sent to me this picture. After that, unfortunately, he was seeking to get some foods during the genocide, because as you know that in genocide there is many of people they kill because there is no food. There is many children they striving until they killed, because it was blocked. People, they cannot have any kind of food or water. So many of children, and especially children, because they are vulnerable, so many of them they killed because there is no food. Then he went to looking for food for his daughters, and he get injured, and this is the picture when he get injured. During the genocide, I sent to him this picture, which was for a lecture in Seoul about Palestine, and he was happy about that. And after that, he sent to me this picture when he was going to the hospitals to support people there. And this message was at night, as I remember. And this conversation was, I think, maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. But unfortunately, I don't know that this is the last conversation with him, because after that, unfortunately, he was killed. He was killed just 2 days after the last message with him. And he left behind 2 little girls. And I wanted to mention that this is just one story. I didn't mention about many of his stories, about many of my friends who's killed in Gaza. Maybe we don't have time to talk about all of them, but we can write books about this, because each person who killed in Gaza, he has a story. Maybe I can mention another, a little story. That's one of the children of my friends. He knows that I'm friend of his father, and he just, I think, 3 years old. So he remember my name as a friend of his father. And when I called my friend's wife, he asked Uncle Saleh to bring my father, because he thought that his father is with me. So imagine, and also when he talked with me, he just now, I think, half a year, and he asked me, where's my father? Please tell him to come back to me. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about all of these stories, but I wanted to repeat that we have 65,000 people killed. We have 65,000 story. Each one he has his own story. Each one he has his own memories and ambitions and life. And Israel killed all of them. And this is just the first numbers. We don't know the accurate number yet. Because of that, and before the current genocide started, since I arrived in Korea, I start to be active and talk about Palestine. I realized that there is just a few Koreans, they know about Palestine. So I started to talk about Palestine before the current genocide to raise the awareness among Koreans about what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. And I think that we have a gap here in Korea about this, because most of Koreans, they are influenced and they are affected by the American news or the American narratives, which is biased to Israel. So Koreans, they don't have, or they mislead, they don't have an accurate information about the story of Palestine. And then I start to read about the Korean history, and I realized that we have a lot of similarities between the history of Japanese colonization in Korea and the Palestinian occupation. We have similarities with the Korean resistance against the occupier, the Japanese occupier, and the same things with Palestinian resistance. So I realized that it's supposed to be much more, or it's easy for Koreans to understand the situation in Gaza, in Palestine. Then I started to talk about Palestine in schools, in meetings, in any place I have opportunity to talk about Palestine. I speak with people. I did a lot of lectures, especially in schools and some universities. So this is some pictures about this. I mean, even I'm not. I don't. I mean, I just work part time to have. I mean, this opportunity, because if I work full time, I cannot do these jobs. I cannot do this. These things. So that's I decided to work part time. That give me opportunity to talk about Palestine. Yeah, and now I mean, also I'm studying Korean at Yonsei Hakyo. So I'm trying to manage my time in these three things, because I think that if I speak Korean, this will help me to be much more effective in the Korean society. So that I decided to learn Korean to deliver and to convey the story of Palestine to Koreans. Yeah, I mean, so after that, you know that we have genocide in Gaza. Palestine is under siege since 2006, and before of that, my grandfather displaced to Gaza, displaced from his village to Gaza. So, what we can do for Palestine? This is, I think, it's very important question. I mean, in my idea, I think the most important thing it's to work to raise the awareness of Koreans about Palestine. So I think we have a very we have a huge gap in this point. We don't have a lot of material about Gaza, about Palestine. There is some, I mean, organization, they are interested to translate and to talk about that, but it's not enough. The story of Palestine, the story about occupation, there is many things we need to translate to Koreans. We need to, convey this message, these issues to Koreans. So I think to raise the awareness, it's the most important thing we can do. I mean, because if we neglect the stories of those, I mean, for thousands of people who's killed in Gaza, we will kill them twice. We will kill them first when Israel killed them, and second, we kill them when we be silent about them, when we don't talk about them story. There is a lot of stories. It's very sensitive. It's very emotional. It's very meaningful for the Palestinian in the current genocide. I mean, hundreds of people, they accept to be killed rather than to be evacuated from the land. These stories we have to, document. We have to translate to Koreans and for all of people around the world. And for religious institution in Korea, it's important to clarify that this conflict is not about religious. It's not about religion. It's not about Islam and Christianity or Islam or Judaism. Yeah, it's not about that, because Israel, they kill Christian people in Gaza. Israel, they kill Christian people in West Bank. It's about occupation. It's about, it's about occupation, the land. It's not about the religious. It's not about religion. And who welcomed me here to Korea? He is a Christian priest in Korea. And he interested about Palestine, and he told me that sometimes the Christian group in Korea who's supporting Israel, they use some religious statements or they use the Bible to justify the occupation of Palestine. And since he is priest, he said that it's misleading. It's not it's not a real Christianity. It's not a real religion. Yeah, so before the occupation, Palestinian people living in peace with the Christian people, with Muslim people, with Judaism people. All of us, we living in Palestine in peace. So we don't have a problem with multiple different religion. It's not an issue. The issue is about occupation. So if an Arabic Muslim country, they wanted to occupy Palestine, we will resist as Israel. We will resist them because they occupy our land. So it's not about religion. So if there is any Jewish people around the world, in Korea, in America, they are Jewish, they are not Israeli, they are my friend. They might be my friend. It's not about a religion. But anyone who accepts to be in Israel and as Israeli, as an occupier, here I have to resist against this occupation. Yeah, and I mean, finally, I wanted to say that after what you just, watched in genocide, as long as there is occupation, it will be resistance. As much as long as there is occupation in Palestine, the resistance will be continue against occupier. And I mean, in current genocide, maybe Israel is successful. They kill thousands of children, thousands of women, thousands of people, and they destroy all of Gaza Strip. Yeah, they successfully did this, but they never kill our determination to come back to our land. They will never kill our spirit to resist against this occupation as much as they did for us, because this is our land, and the world, they didn't respect who has the right. Those just respect who has the power. This is the problem. This is the issue. So I mean, one of my friends, he's Korean, he asked me, if Israel, after you see that there is genocide, do you think that the Palestinians should be quiet and escape, or looking for something else or somewhere to go? I told him, absolutely no. Absolutely, if Israel kill 99% of Palestinians, the other 1% will still resist and fight against the occupation. And I want to say that this is not words. I mean, this is the Palestinian people, they make this is reality. I mean, for me, Israel killed most of my friends. They killed my grandfather and many of my friends. And until now, I don't know how many of my friends they killed. Until now, I don't know many of my friends if they kill or not. And after that, I would say that we will continue to resist against the occupation, because this is our land, this is our rights. We cannot be silent. We cannot be, kicked out of our land and be silent. This is impossible. Now the 100,000 of children who's living this genocide, and maybe most of them family they killed, they will be the new leader for resistance and for the resistance movements for fighting against the occupation. Yeah, this you can see that this picture is for a child who get injured in this genocide, and he make the sign of victory. Yeah, and after Israel destroyed 90% of Gaza, this video was this morning. So who take this video? He take it today, this morning.
في مخيم جباليا. أنا الآن في المخيم، وهذا معاذ. يعطيك العافية معاذ.
الله يعافيك.
إيش بتعمل يا كبير؟
والله نحاول ننظف نعمل خيمة هنا.
شو؟
نعمل خيمة.
الله يعطيك الصحة يا معاذ. شد شو. الله يعطيك العافية.
Okay, this video is for people. Okay, this video is from north part of Gaza, which Israel destroyed 90% or more than 90%, in fact, of the buildings in Gaza. And this guy who get injured in this war, and he lost his leg. As you see that he lost his leg. See, he lost his leg, and he lost his leg in current genocide. And since there is ceasefire, he came back to his home to remove the rebels and to build his tent. Yeah, so I think after all of this, that's the only way for Israel to demolish Palestinian. It's to kill 100% of Palestinians. If they successfully kill all of Palestinian, maybe they will have a peace life in Palestine. But I would say that there is other million free people around the world will fight against this occupation, against these things. So at the end, I'm sure, and I will confirm that one day Palestine will be free, and I will come back to my hometown, Yibna, again, and maybe we will have like the same meetings in Palestine. Okay, now maybe we are weak, we don't have power, we don't have international support, but all of this is a change against the international interest. Now, the interest of Western countries, America, is to support Israel, but it will not be forever. The next 20 years, the next 10 years, this will change, and the Western countries, the America will see that them interest it's to free Palestine, and then we will be free. And it's not just because they see that, because we fight against this, we ensure that this is our rights. Since we will not forget our rights, we will keep fighting as long as there is occupation, no matter how it will cost us, because this is our rights. And if we killed, we will go to heaven, because we fight against our rights, we fight against the occupation for our rights. Yeah, in the end, I mean, thank you very much for listening, and also thanks a lot for this invitation. I really appreciate it. And if there's any question, you are welcome.
이제 여기로 저희 그걸 마치겠습니다. 저를 초대해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's very good, and I'm very happy that we have ceasefire. But I mean, I want to say that our issue, our problem is not ceasefire, it's not war. Our problem is occupation, and the war, which is, I mean, the genocide, it comes as a result because there is occupation. So yeah, I'm very I'm happy that the killing is stopped. I'm very happy, and I don't think that the war will come back again. According to my estimation, I think this is over. But the effects of war will be for a long time. Now there is 100,000 of people, they don't have them home. Now people, they start to cry. They start to remember those friends, those families, those killed, and because of the war, they don't have time to cry. I mean, literally, now people, they could realize what happens after 1 year, because every day there is there is attacks 24 hours. We don't have even time to cry. I mean, my uncle, my grandfather killed, and we don't know where the body. We don't know where. I mean, there's thousands of people now. Thousands of people in Gaza. I mean, we don't know where is the body. So imagine that this will be very difficult. And I mean, just we have to think that how many children they will continue their life without their parents, without their father. So yeah, I'm very happy that we have ceasefire, but I wanted to say that it's not over. We didn't, it's not over. It's just the beginning of the new chapter of suffering. We have 2 million people in Gaza. We have in Gaza 90% destroyed. So it's just, the beginning of the new suffering. This is, I wanted to say. Yeah, and I wanted to say that I'm very happy and I'm very proud about the people in Gaza and the resistant movements. Those, fight for more than 460 days with nothing, and Israel, they have full support of military from America, and almost Gaza destroyed completely. But the resistance movements, the fighters in Gaza Strip, the people, they still believe in them rights. They still fight for the last second. Even after the ceasefire, they show that we didn't defeat it, and we are still exist in Gaza. That's give a message. It's not just about the resistance movement. It's a message about all of the Palestinians, that as much as Israel tried to do for us, okay, maybe Israel success to kill thousands of people, but never will Israel success to defeat the resistance in Palestine. Now, I think that's we have, as a Korean society, we have, I think it's very important to build something or project to take this role, to translate the stories, information about Palestine to Korea, to publish it for children, to write books for children, have a broadcast or videos, to produce all of these means or tools which helps Koreans to understand more about Palestine. This is about the society, and I think the government should have a rules to stop to import some tools which is used against the international law. Now, Israel, they used the Hyundai bulldozer to destroy the homes in West Bank, which is West Bank, according to international law, it's a Palestinian land. So Israel used the Hyundai machines, equipment to destroy the Palestinian homes, and it's against the international law. And there is investigation about that. It's documented. So I think it's this is just one of things the Korean government could do. Yeah, I'm trying as much as I can to translate by my friends, some of my friends, and there is some activists to try to do these things, to translate, but all of this is individual initiatives. It's not, system, it's not an institution or in a project. So I hope if we could have a project to translate all of information, all of stories about Palestine to Korea. I think it will help a lot. Yeah, the last point that many of people, they ask me about donation. Or send some aids for Palestine. Yeah, I said that Palestinian people now, they don't have, they have nothing. So they need these things, but it's not. It's not the main issue. It's not the main issue that we don't have food or water or shelter. It's a result. It's a consequences. So for me, I prefer to focus about the roots of the problem rather than to have an idea that the problem it's about we have poor people, or we have people who don't have food in Gaza and we just send them food, and that's we did all of what we can do. It's important to send aids for Palestine, but it's important also to know that it's not the first priority for Palestinians. The first priority for Palestinians is to be free. If they be free, if they become free, they will have, they will live peacefully with. They don't need any aid. First, Israel, they initially rejected to discuss this issue. Initially, they didn't realize Palestinian should exist in Palestine, and this is what the leader, the Israeli leader in the current government, they said that Israel is very small and we have to take all of Palestine. So initially, this is rejected from Israel. This is initially. This is from the first point. The second point that if we look about Palestine just before the occupation, you will see that there is no Israeli state and there is Palestinian state under the British mandatory. And after that, British and other countries, they support Jewish people to came from other countries to live in Palestine. As the result, those people, immigrants, to come from Russia and Africa, to come to Palestine, my grandfather and my family kicked out of Palestine. So it's not that just they came to Palestine. This leads that I'm here in Korea because I don't have place. I lost my home. So I think the solution, or we could find a solution if Israel admire that we occupied Palestine and this land is for Palestine, and allow all of Palestinian, all of refugees to come back to them countries, to them lands. I think that the solution will come. I don't know exactly how this solution will be. Personally, I don't have a problem with anyone to live in Palestine, but under the Palestinian country. It doesn't make sense. We have to look for Palestine according to historical documented information. According to historical documented information, this land belongs to Arabs. And by the way, Israeli historian, they say that. I can show you now. Maybe we don't have time, but the Israeli historian, they said that this land, it belongs to Arab people. It belongs for Palestinian. So for me, I don't wanna to accept someone to take my home because I'm weak. No, I mean I will resist for the end. Here there's someone, okay, so what we should do with Israeli people, they who could live in Palestine under the Palestinian government, they are welcomed. I mean, as Korean welcomed Japanese to live in Korea as a visitor under the Korean government, and they reject and they fight against Japanese under the occupation umbrella, it's the same in Palestine. It's not about people. All of people around the world, they are welcome to live in Palestine under the Palestinian government, but we will not accept for other people to take Palestine and to create a country and take a million of Palestinian people out of them land. I mean, the last point that we want to be aware about the Israeli project. The Israeli project, they said that our mission is not Palestine. It's not just only Palestine. You know, the Israeli army, they have a map here in the right side. They have map. They put, they called it the Great Israel. They put Palestine, most of Egypt, all of Lebanon, Syria, and some of Saudi Arabia, and some of Iraq. So they looking for something called the Great Israel, which is to occupy many of countries in Middle East. This is not my idea, you know, it's not my opinion. It's on the Israeli army mission.